The story of the very short rise and very dramatic fall of Hopout Blick is one that really left me shaking my head. When researching this video, I had to ask myself, what's the point of this? Why am I going through all this trouble to make a documentary to tell the story of someone who perpetuated so much pain and misery in his own community? His music is so forgettable that in a year, I don't even think people will remember it. But what I find myself realizing is the reason I was drawn to make this video is the story of Hopout Blick is the story of thousands of literal kids and teenagers in this city. Blick was just 18 when he was arrested and charged with 17 charges, including 2 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder, among many other charges the prosecutor alleged that Blick was involved in. The story of Hopout Blick is the story of a kid who was born in less than ideal circumstances and one who came up on a block already entrenched in a murderous gunfight, back and forth with another block from the same neighborhood. It's the sad but sobering truth that as a black kid in this city, growing up in some of these neighborhoods is genuinely life or death. However, what we have to remember is that we choose our path in life no matter what. There are thousands of 18-year-olds who live in that immediate area and around the city who are faced with worse conditions and poverty than Hopout Blick did. But those kids aren't facing murder charges at the moment. My mom always told me, son, you already have 2 strikes against you. 1, you're a black man, and 2, your parents aren't wealthy, so you can't afford any mistakes in life. She would tell me that I had to be extraordinary in any endeavor in life that I had. I had to work harder than most of my peers to achieve the same goals. She always left me with motivation that said to never let anyone's opinion define my direction in life. It's in my hands, but the deck is stacked, so to speak. Man, rest in peace to mommy. Extremely bad decisions were made by Blick along the way in his life that contributed to his already unfortunate situation. But before we talk about Hopout Blick and his murder charges and why he is sitting in jail at the moment, let's learn a little bit about the context of how he got here. Allegedly, after some neighborhood fight at a gas station in Germantown, the kids that were involved took it a step further. And just like that, we had the beginnings of a years-long feud that is still going on to this day. On June 11, 2016, police were looking for a gunman who opened fire on 27-year-old P&B Steph, the brother of P&B Rock, who was sitting in the car in the Philadelphia's Germantown section. The incident happened around 2 a.m. on a Saturday in 2016 on the 6100 block of Baton Street. According to police, Steph was shot in the left torso. After he was shot, Steph's car then rolled down the street to Herman Street before stopping in some bushes. P&B Steph was pronounced dead at the scene. There was also a woman with him that night at the time of the shooting. According to officials, she was not hurt.
Up to the victim on the 6100 block of Baton Street at 2 this morning and opened fire as he sat inside his car. That car then rolled down the street to the unit block of Herman Street before stopping in some bushes.
A little over a year later, Steph's alleged killer, Nemo, from the west side, was gunned down. On Tuesday, July 4th, 2017, at 11 p.m., Philadelphia police officers responded to the 6300 block of Moylan Street and learned that Nahum Johnson Tate, or Nemo, had been shot in the head and was driven by someone at the scene to Roxborough Hospital. The 23-year-old was killed when he was going to visit his girlfriend and 3-month-old son in West Germantown. Nemo was later transported to Temple University and listed in critical condition. Unfortunately, Nemo died the next day.
Nemo got fried for July, but with a different beam. I'm trying to do a nigga like Nemo got and send something to the sea.
As the story usually goes, the West Side was looking for get back. And unfortunately, what ends up inevitably happening is you get innocent victims who just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. and you end up killing them if you're not extremely careful. This is what happened when a 16-year-old from PNB was killed and 3 others were wounded after gunfire rang out on Tuesday night, September 26, 2017. It happened around 8:30 p.m. in the 100 block of East Pastoria Street in Germantown. Police say 16-year-old Jai Custis was fatally shot in the back while fleeing. 3 others were also shot, including Jai's 13-year-old sister, an 18-year-old man, and a 19-year-old man, according to police.
And he looking around and trying to see where the little kids at. He said, if I get shot, I get shot.
Speaking for her granddaughter Kia, Melinda Custis says those were the last words her grandson Jai Custis said to his 13-year-old cousin as he ran towards East Pastorius in Banton. A bullet grazed Kia in the arm and pierced the 16-year-old in the back, ending his life.
This could be a whole different story. We could be planning for 2 films.
He ran past his house, which he could have ran in, but the other little children were still out. So he was making sure that the other children got to where they needed to get.
His family calls his actions heroic and don't believe that he was the intended target. Only collateral damage and the ongoing gun violence gripping city streets.
They ain't even get to see me when I cop that new Musan. To please my young nigga, Jai got killed, he was only 16.
Everyone is familiar with the story of PNB Rock. The rapper/singer from Philly had the classic rags to riches story, from writing songs in his jail cell to writing hits and working with some of the top artists in the rap industry. PNB Rock's story is really tragic, and maybe we will have a video on him and his life and death in the future. PNB Rock's brother Steph was a major loss for PNB, and the feeling around the neighborhood was that things were going to get worse before they were going to get better. Rock is from an area in Philadelphia called Germantown, and for the purposes of this video, we're going to talk about 2 specific areas separated by Germantown Ave. On the east side, you have Pastorius and Bayton, or PNB, where Rock is from. PNB is one of the most recognizable names from the city thanks to PNB Rock. When anyone from outside the city hears the name PNB, they think of Rock. He made their section known nationwide. Germantown, Philadelphia, was originally its own town. However, it was absorbed by the city of Philadelphia in the mid-1800s. The neighborhood is known for its Mennonite and Germantown Quaker heritage. Germantown has played a significant role in American history. It was the birthplace of American anti-slavery movement, the site of a Revolutionary War battle, the temporary residence of George Washington, and the location of the first bank of the United States. It also was the residence to many notable politicians, scholars, artists, and social activists. Today, the area remains rich in historic sites and buildings from the colonial era, some of which are open to the public. But Germantown suffers from the same problems a lot of neighborhoods in Philly are faced with these days. Poor employment opportunities and income disparities, along with subpar schooling, all contribute to the conditions that led to the mindset of people who give up on society and living by its rules. Most families in Germantown are really just victims of class circumstance and are going about their everyday life trying to survive. But a small percentage turn to the streets for answers. However, as I say in almost every video, the streets are alive. PNB Mean, PNB Wally, PNB Chiz, Lean, Lid, Sil, Lizzie, Leash, BD or Broad Day, Steph, Nah, Shotty, Shizzy, and PNB Rock, and so many others go by the name and represent the area directly surrounding it.
We plucking the nigga, now they hiding out for weeks. BGE, we coming through, them niggas fast up when they feet. Try and get up with Laquaz, you know that shit ain't even cheap. I'm shooting up they block and now these folks in disbelief. How you gon' spin through my block and these bricks like Jody Meeks? 1500 BGE, yeah, we dirty with these cleats. Steady riding on these waves like here you go get a treat. See a 6 and poking out his hair, I'm shooting at his beat. Before you hop up in the mix, you better think before you speak. See a PNB nigga, shoot him off his. I don't even got the time to beef, I'm cracking guard for weeks.
Them niggas hop out, try to run, bet you ain't got a chance. He was dissing on the dead, and now this nigga can't. Bro, try and put this switch to work and make a nigga dance. If we can't get the nigga dissing, we gon' get his man. And you ain't never hop out shit, ain't never kill a man. Stop it. These niggas can't back it. Bro, through the assist, I'm like, this shit a easy basket. Like, this shit a easy bucket. This shit nothing, tap and top and leave. I know niggas mad that we the reason that your man can't breathe. You ain't active, you can't pop it when we talking bees. And I could pop it, cause I back it, got these niggas teeth.
What you sippin', you can't have what's in my cups, so mind your business. I don't choke, cause this ain't for no image. They know that we did it. I be stepping out of love, these niggas capping for attention. I done seen brains pop, but if they ask, I ain't a witness. Bitch, we churches, we really put niggas on them benches. I don't diss, but niggas got me in my bag, they keep on dissing us. I won't say no names, cause I ain't trying to get indicted. If you know we push it in the air just like a pirate.
I be with head tappers, listen on my guys get put to bed after. They a rapper, them niggas lying, they ain't getting active. Put them niggas up, we hopped out Blick and shoulda ran faster. We been in the trap, been flipping packs, so many transactions. They keep on dissing on my gang like we don't really do this shit. You diss on Sterling, can we get you dropped? Don't give a who you with.
This that west side shit, this shit been running through my veins. Bitch, I bleed 6'5" for my dead homies, I'ma bang. Hop in that V, I'm trying to put this nigga homie on the chain.
We made the torches for the flame, we made them niggas feel our pain. You see what we did to you, bro, we catch you, we gon' do the same. We been smoking on them niggas, but we ain't claiming right. 4 different strains, we say their name, but we ain't made like that. They on the social, but when we see them, we having running laps. You fucks a pool just for the clout, but a bad vibe. They gon' fake it till they famous, and that's the problem now. Pop out, put niggas up on Fox, let's see who poppin' now. And I only fear of law, but it did a drill and fear of God. These niggas dissing all on gunning like he ain't had y'all terrified.
Let's play ball with the ops, hop out broad day. I know a nigga that think that he tough, and he learned the hard way. Check it, let's see what the score say. We put that boy in a new lane. We ain't got to speak on the shit that we did, cause that shit is too lame. I got hit and I seen 3 blocks pray for 1 nigga. And they all ran, bro, hit like 3 niggas with like 1 blicker. 4 pound hitting niggas make a nigga's body feel like real different. Last nigga played with third name, got sent up, shit got real trenches. We mixing bodies with bands, yeah, we call that a B&B. Put a nigga body all in the sky, we leave him on P&B. Hop out, stir ball in my mind, I'm trying to put shit to sleep.
The other side of this story, or the ops to P&B, comes from the other side of Germantown Avenue, across the tracks, which in this case would be the trolley tracks that run straight down Germantown Avenue. Mostly over on West Sharpneck Street, we have WSM, or West Side Mafia. WSM isn't just Sharpneck though. There are a lot of blocks over there on the west side of Germantown that either claim or are cool with WSM, or some just call it West Side. For the last decade, these two sides have helped skyrocket the negative attention in Germantown. In the 80s and 90s, while still rough, Germantown, Mount Airy, and West Oak Lane was where your parents and grandparents would move to get you into a better and safer area of the city. The further up Germantown Ave you went, the better the neighborhoods, cutting off at the top of Germantown Ave and Chestnut Hill. Drugs and property crime in the 90s and early 2000s started to move a lot of the business and wealth out of Germantown. In 2005, the Philadelphia Eagles lost a heartbreaking Super Bowl to the Patriots. Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith would gross $849 million worldwide, making it the second most financially successful film of 2005 behind Harry Potter. Hurricane Katrina dominated the news, and the shit show of the United States government response was put on display for the world to see. This was the same year that Hopout Blick, born Kaiser Reeves, was introduced to the world. Blick grew up in Germantown around the P&B area. He went to Olney High School, but I'm not sure if he graduated or not. Blick's mother was in and out of jail during his childhood, and he was basically raised by his grandma. I couldn't find much information on his dad, but Blick stated in interviews that his grandmother raised and supported him. In 2016, when P&B Rock's brother Steph was killed, Blick was only 11 years old. So everything that was going on in the streets had nothing to do with Blick initially. P&B Rock meant a lot to his hood back in those days and still means a lot, but at the same time, back in 2016, he was the meal ticket and the hood was ready to ride or die for Rock.
What we gonna do? I got a gas bitch. Yeah. Where we at? Hey, Lane, you guys on you, right? What's that? BD, rush that. I was trying to score, but that shit was a touchback.
Nemo was one of Westside's main steppers, so when he was killed, the beef was up and stuck, as they say. There was a time in Philadelphia where conflicts like this were able to be stopped right here. One person from each side had been killed, and then a presumed innocent 16-year-old was killed. That moment would have been a perfect time for a peace treaty. But in September of 2018, we would see exactly where this beef was headed. A 19-year-old woman was shot and killed while walking her dog on a brisk fall night. Destiny was enjoying the night with friends when she walked her dog.
As authorities are releasing surveillance video of this shooting in hopes that it does help them catch their killers and understand the motive behind this murder. Right now, they are concerned that this truly could be a senseless crime, that it could be a case of mistaken identity. Teens hanging out on the front porch of this Germantown home at 7 o'clock last Wednesday night became the victims of unexpected gunfire. Surveillance video captured part of the daylight shooting and captured the vehicle the gunmen were in.
A white 2011 to 2018 Ford Explorer with the 500-yard light.
Authorities are looking for help in finding the SUV to locate the gunmen who now have become killers. One of the two people shot fought for 5 days but died from their injuries. That person identified as 19-year-old Destiny Charles.
19-year-old young lady with her whole life in front of her was killed. Someone has to have some kind of conscience out there. And it's a quiet neighborhood in a quiet area.
On top of that, police say Charles and the group of teens on the front porch had no known issues with anyone. They had no criminal records. They were just doing what many of us do on a nice day: hang out outside. According to this neighbor, Destiny Charles had just stopped by at this home to do that moments before the shooting.
She said I came by to say hi.
Laurie Hayes knows the 19-year-old's family. They have hope that this surveillance video will help capture her killers.
Destiny was killed on the west side, right off of Washington Lane. P&B Shizzy, like P&B Rock.
In my hood, I ride down on a 10-speed for an iPhone or some petty shit. Like, please, Lord, don't tempt me.
He never saw the levels of success that Rock did, but nonetheless, he was a mainstay in everything P&B related. On Thursday, January 24th, 2019, at 7:30 p.m., Philadelphia police officers responded to the 6800 block of Old York Road and found Stephen Towns, or P&B Shizzy, and Dante Smith suffering from gunshot wounds, while still seated in the 2005 Subaru Outback. They were transported to Albert Einstein Medical Center by police, but they did not survive. The shooter was in the back seat of the Subaru Outback on the driver's side, while Stephen and Dante were in the front seats. He began shooting Stephen and Dante from the rear seat as the Subaru Outback came to a stop at a red light on Broad Street. The shooter then left the car and fled east on Old York Road. And we all know where we're headed from here. Much like some of the violence in the other areas of the city, the shootings and murders related to this beef began to take over the neighborhood, making the residents start to fear simple activities like playing outside or walking to the store and just living everyday life outside and feeling safe. On November 4th, 2019, Daniel Thomas, also known as Sturdy, was killed on the west side. The 17-year-old Sturdy was shot on Sharpneck Street along with another 17-year-old. According to police, Sturdy was shot in the head and rushed to Albert Einstein Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead. His friend, who was shot as well, will go on to survive.
That boy died 2 years ago, but we still smoke it. Danny Phantom.
Family forced to plan a funeral for a 17-year-old kid. He was one of 2 teens shot tonight. The other survived.
What will it take for this to stop in our area? This latest shooting happening just after 5:30 in Philadelphia's Germantown section. Fox 29's Sharpneck Wilson, who has covered far too many of these shootings, joins us live tonight at Northwest Detectives. Sharpneck.
Well, Shane and Jason, obviously very sad. And, we had to be extremely careful out there tonight. Even recording parts of the crime scene, very difficult because much of it was too graphic to even record to show. Meanwhile, we're told that 17-year-old shot in really close range. Police tell us they found 16 spent shell casings surrounding his body. Sky Fox over the scene of yet another shooting involving minors. The victims are both 17 years old. One shot once in the head and rushed to Einstein. Police say doctors worked on him for about 2 hours, but he was pronounced dead around 8 o'clock tonight. The other victim remains at Einstein in stable condition with a gunshot wound to the hand and lower left side of his body. Police say it happened around 5:30 this evening on West Sharpneck Street in Germantown, where they say they found 16 spent shell casings around the body of the teen shot in the head. The teen who survived managed to run about a half block away where police found him.
We don't have a motive for the shooting at this time. However, we're told by witnesses that there were 2 males, dark-colored clothing, and they possibly got into a silver SUV-type vehicle that was last seen traveling west on Sharpneck towards Emlyn Street.
And police tell us that 17-year-old who was shot in the head and died, they say they found a handgun in his waistband when they rushed him to the hospital. They say that gun was not fired during the shooting. Tonight, they are looking at surveillance video from home security cameras on that block. There is also a police camera on the street.
Sturdy was a known stepper for WSM. His death only made this war more dangerous than it already was. Just living on Sharpneck Street or on P&B made you a target. Involved or not, the young boys are starting to get in it now too. And as we explained on this channel before, the under 20s in today's Philadelphia are a whole different type of beast when it comes to violence and a disregard for the rest of the public, just trying to live their life. They're neighbors that just happen to live in what is now a war zone. Hanif Pools was shot on the 500 block of East Duval Street on Saturday, October 24th, 2020. At 12:22 a.m., Philadelphia police responded to the scene and located Hanif lying next to a white 2015 Ford Edge. He was suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Medical personnel arrived and pronounced Hanif deceased at the scene. Hanif Pools was 17 years old. He lived on Temple Road in Philadelphia. Sometime in 2021, the young boys who came up after Rock and them started to carry the name P&B. The ones running the new set were going to be BD and Doughboy, as well as Hopout Blick, who was the main rapper and one of the younger ones in this age bracket. BD is like 23 and Blick is 18. People like BD, Doughboy, and Liam were old enough to be around when Rock and them was around, but they are a good 7 or 8 years younger. The new name of this group from P&B would start to go by the Tortures. The Tortures is a click-up of a couple of blocks on the east side. Band Up Ty from Chew and Shelton was part of this click-up and was also killed. He gets dissed along with P&B and the Tortures. But you had people from all over the east side of Germantown really that was tied in with the Tortures. A lot of different blocks over there fuck with the Tortures, but his main rappers were Hopout Blick and Band Up Ty when he was alive. They also say BD wasn't really born in Philly, but I'm not sure how true that is. The main point I'm trying to get across here is that when P&B Rock was alive, he didn't really like all the dissing and attention the Tortures were bound to get P&B. He saw where this was headed. There are also rumors that there was a schism in the neighborhood, mainly because some people, not all or even most, but some people from around the neighborhood stopped messing with Rock because they felt like he left them behind. Jealousy and envy. You already know how that goes down. There are also all sorts of behind-the-scenes politics that I'm not aware of. But what I do know is that the tortures had nothing to do with PNB Rock, and I want to make that very clear. On April 30th, 2021, Cameron Scott Bay, or Cam, was waiting for a friend outside his grandmother's house in West Oak Lane when he was shot. Cameron was transported to Einstein Medical Center where he died that evening. He was 19 years old. Cam's death marks a turning point in this beef. For the first time, this beef will be brought to the public in terms of drill rap.
You heard what they did to Cam, they ran that on him, hit him up. Ain't no leg.
I mentioned earlier that PNB Rock had made a transition and was trying to get away from the killing and dissing. It made everything about his career harder, from finding places to perform to the politics in the city. Back in 2020, a lot of lines were drawn in Philadelphia street culture. You had to be careful who you affiliated. PNB Rock's biggest fear was putting in all the hard work of achieving his dreams and goals just to turn around and have his life snatched over some street beef. See, when you have something to live for like Rock did, your perspective on life shifts. You start to realize that there is a life worth living out there. You just might have to get out of your immediate surroundings to appreciate it. But for the people still involved in the streets, especially these parts of Germantown, they didn't have the benefit of that perspective. A lot of these kids fully expect to die on the streets. And now, PNB Rock was especially not feeling the whole situation in Philly because of how hot the tortures were making everything. I don't think Rock could ever imagine that what he left behind in his section of the city would ever turn into the mess it is today. In part 2, we will talk about the rest of the people who lost their lives to this beef. We will talk about the fall of Hopout Blick and what led to the circumstances that left 3 children dead and 4 people shot, which finds Hopout Blick and BD behind bars and Doughboy still on the run. We will talk about the Torture's musical endeavors with YBC and how their gangs became so closely aligned. We also will talk about how and why Hopout Blick changed his name from Smoke PNB. All that and more in part 2. Stay tuned for that. Until then, be safe.
Since we was pups, running the streets, been through a lot. Posted on P Street, I swear to God, I love that block. But I also hate it, cause we lost 3 homies on that block. Broski moved to LA, how the fuck we still lose rock? BD 20s, we gotta stick together, but we all we got. And we prayed before them jobs. I watched the homies make a lot.